Imagine spending your whole life on the grind. You're stacking every single penny, shutting down your emotions, and chasing nothing but pure, unfiltered success. You've got the power, the money, the penthouse, total control. But then, one night, a massive crash flips your entire reality upside down. When you finally open your eyes, you aren't in your luxury apartment. You're in a cramped, loud, middle-class home. You are literally living the life you always looked down on. Welcome back to Kelly Explained. Today, we aren't just telling a story, we are diving deep into the psychology of a character. We're breaking down the movie Beautiful Accident. This film is packed with so much tension and so many reality checks, it'll make you question if the life you're chasing is actually the one you want. Let's take it from the top. In the very first frame, we meet our main character, Liu. She's rocking a high-end designer suit, her hair is flawless, and she has this stone-cold look in her eyes that could freeze water. Liu is a top-tier corporate lawyer, but her office doesn't feel like a place of justice. It feels like a shark tank. Sitting across from her is a terrified high school girl, her eyes swollen from crying. Next to her is her mom, and you can tell from their clothes that they are barely scraping by. They've gathered every ounce of courage to file a lawsuit because a rich, entitled classmate assaulted the girl. But Liu isn't there to help them. She is the defense attorney for the rich kid. Liu leans back in her expensive leather chair, looking completely bored. She totally ignores the girl's tears and says in this flat, ruthless voice, "You are never going to win this case." Her argument is so manipulative and sharp that it'll literally make your blood boil. She hits them with a harsh reality check. Courtrooms run on evidence, not emotions, and her client has the cash to bury the evidence. She looks the mom dead in the eye and says, "If you take this to trial, the media will drag your daughter's name through the mud. And when my client countersues you for defamation, you won't even have enough money to keep a roof over your head." That's all it takes. The mom's spirit breaks right there on the expensive hardwood floor. They drop the case and walk out crying. Liu just smirks. She knows the kid is guilty. She just doesn't care. Her bank account is getting fatter tonight, and that's all that matters. Right out of the gate, the movie hits us with a heavy truth bomb. In a corrupt system, money talks and wealth equals power. The writers make Liu so incredibly toxic early on so that you absolutely despise her. But hold on to that feeling, because that is exactly what makes her character arc so mind-blowing later on. Liu's personal life is a total void. Before leaving for a trip to Germany, she visits her mother's grave. It's windy, leaves are falling, and she is standing there completely alone. She whispers, "I'm going to Germany, stay with me." You can feel the intense isolation. We find out her dad walked out on them when she was just a kid. Ever since then, she built a steel wall around her heart. No feelings allowed, just the hustle. But fate is about to smash that wall to pieces. Driving back from the cemetery, it's pitch black outside. The road is completely dead. Liu is cruising in her luxury car, and then bam! A violent, brutal car crash. The screen goes pitch black for a few seconds. When the lights come back on, Liu isn't in an ER. She's standing in this bizarre, futuristic, freezing cold waiting room. There are massive lines of people just standing around. This isn't a hospital. This is the counter of destiny, the transit hub for the afterlife. Liu is totally confused. She marches up to the front desk, flexing her lawyer attitude, demanding to know who's in charge. The receptionist doesn't even blink and says, "You're dead, ma'am. This is the spirit realm."
Liu is speechless. All that money and power, totally useless here. A few minutes later, she's pulled into the director's office. The director drops a bombshell. There was a glitch in the system, a massive clerical error. Liu wasn't supposed to die for another 50 years. The Grim Reapers were supposed to pick up a different woman named Liu who lived in the same city. But here's the catch. Liu's actual physical body is in a deep coma on Earth, totally wrecked. Until they can fix her body, her soul needs a temporary host. The director gives her an ultimatum. The other Liu is destined to die in a crash tonight. Our lawyer Liu has to take over that woman's body and live her life for 7 days. Liu loses her mind, but you can't exactly sue the universe. The next morning, sunlight hits a messy, cramped bedroom. Liu opens her eyes. She's on a cheap mattress, and there's a total stranger sleeping next to her. She freaks out and runs to the bathroom mirror. It's her face, but this is definitely not her life. She hears kids screaming in the hallway. Reality hits her like a freight train. She is a suburban housewife, a stay-at-home mom with zero income and no corporate career. Out of pure frustration, she runs down to her old law firm. But the security guards at the front desk, the same guys who used to bow to her, don't even recognize her and kick her out. Standing on the sidewalk, completely helpless and furious, Liu actually tries to step in front of a moving truck to end it, but the truck slams on its brakes. Suddenly, the director's voice whispers behind her, "You can't die. You have to survive these 7 days. If you blow your cover, your soul is trapped in the void forever. Liu screams at him, "You put me in the body of a nobody, a woman who doesn't even work." And the director delivers the hardest line of the movie. He looks at her dead serious and says, "Do you honestly think managing a home isn't work? Sacrificing your own desires to keep a family afloat is the hardest, most thankless job on the planet. And guess what? That's your job now." That reality check from the director messes with Liu's head. Reluctantly, she has to play house. Cut to the grocery store. Liu is pushing a cart, and her arrogant lawyer brain is still running the show. She tosses in expensive steaks, imported snacks, and top-tier veggies, just like she used to. But when she gets to the register and swipes her card, transaction declined. She stares at the screen, totally humiliated. The bank balance is practically zero. She can't even afford half the stuff in her cart. She has to do the walk of shame and put the expensive items back on the shelves. For a woman who used to buy luxury cars, this is a massive hit to her ego. This scene is so raw. It shows how quickly a lack of money can strip away your confidence. The high roller lawyer is suddenly feeling the exact same financial anxiety as the middle class families she used to crush in court. It's brilliant karma. Later that afternoon, she goes to pick up her new son from the bus stop. Kids have a crazy sixth sense, and the second the boy steps off the bus, he gives her this weird, suspicious look. He instantly vibes that this woman might look like his mom, but she doesn't act like her at all. Liu knows she's busted. As a top lawyer, she's a professional liar, but she can't outsmart this little kid. Sitting on a park bench, she spills the beans. She tells him about the spirit world, the director, and the body swap, but to protect the kid's feelings, she adds a tiny white lie. "Your real mom will be back in 7 days." The kid is sad, but he promises to keep her secret. From that day on, the little boy becomes her wingman, teaching her how the family operates. That night, Liu tries to cook dinner. It is a complete disaster. Her new husband and teenage daughter take one bite and immediately start complaining. Liu, still holding on to her toxic CEO energy, slams her hands on the table and snaps, "Shut up and eat it." The whole room goes dead silent. Later in the bedroom, the husband mentions an upcoming office party. Liu immediately demands to buy a new expensive dress. The husband is totally shocked because his real wife was incredibly frugal and never spent a dime on herself. Still, he softly agrees. But when he tries to get affectionate, Liu panics. She feels like a stranger in this body. She fakes being sick and bolts to the living room couch. The next day, Liu hits the mall, but this time, she doesn't just buy a dress. She drops serious cash on designer clothes for her husband too. When he comes home and sees the price tags, he loses it. He tells her, "We are saving every penny for the kids' college funds. How could you be so reckless?" Liu casually brushes it off, saying money is meant to be spent. Her husband looks completely heartbroken. He grabs his coat and heads back to the office to work a night shift just to cover the money she blew. Watching him walk out, Liu feels something she hasn't felt in years: guilt. She heads to a local bar to grab a drink. A neighbor spots her, thinking she's the original Liu, and sits down. The neighbor smiles and says, "Your family gives me hope. The way you and your husband hustled to make that tiny house feel like a mansion. You guys are beautiful." Those words hit Liu like a ton of bricks. For the first time in her life, she feels proud not for winning a massive lawsuit, but for being a mom. Walking home, Liu's maternal instinct kicks into overdrive. She catches her teenage daughter about to kiss a boy. The old Liu would have lost her mind, but the new Liu steps in calmly. She doesn't yell, she just talks to her like a friend. She tells her, "Having a boyfriend isn't a crime, but your education comes first right now. And why didn't you tell me? Aren't we friends?" The daughter starts crying, overwhelmed by the love and support, and promises to never hide anything from her again. The vibe in the house totally flips. Liu is finally living, not just surviving. She goes to the office party with her husband, wearing the dress he bought her. At the party, she finds out her husband has been passed up for promotions for years because he refuses to do dirty, illegal work for his boss. He's an honest, stand-up guy. When the drunk boss tries to publicly humiliate Liu, her quiet husband finally snaps. He screams at the boss in front of the whole company, exposing his shady business deals. The boss runs off humiliated, and the husband finally gets his dignity back, powered by Liu having his back. But the happiness doesn't last. fast. They get home and hear the daughter crying. She was assaulted by her boyfriend. The husband goes into full protective dad mode, tracks the kid down, and beats him up. The next morning, they are all called into the police station. When Lou walks into the precinct, she freezes. Sitting across the room is the punk kid, his wealthy, snobby parents, and a high-priced, arrogant corporate lawyer. This is the ultimate cinematic parallel. The universe put Lou exactly where she was at the start of the movie, but on the opposite side of the table. She used to be the shark defending the bad guys. Now she is the desperate mother seeking justice. Lou has a panic attack in the bathroom, haunted by all the lives she ruined as a lawyer, but she doesn't run. She walks back out into the precinct, totally transformed. She channels all her aggressive, cutthroat legal skills, but this time she uses them for good. She absolutely verbally destroys the rich family, pointing out every legal loophole and threatening to drag their names through the media until they are ruined. The rich family is terrified. They drop the charges and the boy begs for forgiveness. Lou has finally found true happiness, but time is up. On the morning of her final day, her little boy suddenly goes blind. His cornea is completely damaged, and he needs emergency surgery or he'll lose his sight forever. Lou is a wreck. She paces the hospital hallway for hours until the doctor finally comes out and says the surgery was a success. Lou collapses on the floor, crying tears of relief. But when she looks up, the director is standing at the end of the hallway. He looks at her and says, "Your 7 days are up. It's time to go." Liu's heart shatters. She begs him for just one last look at her family. She hugs her daughter goodbye, listens to her son happily say he can see the lights, and shares one final silent tear-filled look with her husband. She gets into the director's car and they drive back to the exact spot where she had her accident. On the way, the director drops the final plot twist. He looks at her and says, "I know your father. He regretted leaving you every single day. He wanted to apologize, but his time ran out. Let go of the anger, Liu." Suddenly, blinding headlights. Another massive crash. Liu wakes up to the smell of hospital sanitizer. She's alive. She's back in her original wealthy body. She rips out her IVs and sprints to the pediatric ward to find her son. But the front desk says there is no record of him. She grabs a cab to the suburban house, but a totally different family lives there. The husband, the kids, they don't exist in this timeline. Was it just a coma dream, an alternate dimension? The movie leaves that up to you, but one thing is certain, Liu is permanently changed. A few weeks later, she walks back into her high-end law firm, but she isn't the ice queen anymore. She looks her team in the eye and tells them they are reopening the case of the high school girl, and this time, they are fighting for the victim. She stops chasing money. She moves in with her sister to focus on family. While looking through old photo albums, she sees a picture of her father when he was young. Her jaw drops. Her dad looks exactly like the director from the spirit realm. It was her father's soul all along, guiding her, saving her, and finally making amends. In the final scene, Liu is on a plane heading to Germany to finish her studies. A guy sits down in the seat next to her. She looks over and stops breathing. It's him. It's the man who was her husband in the dream world. But in the real world, he is just an old college classmate. He tells her he used to have a huge crush on her back in the day, but she was too unapproachable. Liu smiles softly and asks, "How are your kids?" He laughs and says, "I'm not even married yet." Liu gets tears in her eyes. She realizes the family in the dream wasn't just a fantasy, it was a glimpse into her future. Choosing love over her ego, she asks for his number. What a masterpiece. This movie proves that sometimes you have to lose everything you thought you wanted to find exactly what you needed. What did you guys think of Beautiful Accident? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you in the next one.